Welcome to Point to Rise, your podcast that gives you permission to dream big, take messy action, and turn your talent into profit while turning your back on perfection. My name is Suzanne Purcell, high performance and mindset coach, former international ballerina, profitable entrepreneur, and founder of Point to Rise, a movement designed to empower dancers. It is my mission to use my own story as an inspiration for today's generation of dancers. And now sit back, stretch, warm up, or sip your coffee and love learning how much it matters to point at yourself first to rise to all that you are capable of.
Hello, everyone. I am back. So, I don't know about you, but for me, when I take a shower and I'm really forced to stand still, all of these thoughts are coming in. So, I thought I'm just going to hop on here, makeup or hairbrushed or not. I want to share this with you because it came up several times this week, and that was the thought of, or the topic of, you know, finding success without the hustle. Meaning, and or let me rephrase this, is it actually really possible to be successful without working ourselves to the ground? I think that's the better. And I want to talk about this because as a former dancer, for me the belief always was that if I don't give my all and then some, if I don't really am exhausted to the bones and have nothing left to give, that is where actually my work begins. Meaning that success for me equals, this is a harsh word, but it was actually hurting me. And it was my belief that it will further me, it will get me in the spotlight, it will give me the roles. Now, I know now that that wasn't a path for me, although I chose it and I went through it over and over and over again. So if you're listening to this and you're just starting your career, we are so strong. So strong, and we can, our body is so resilient, and what we're doing to our body does not always have immediate effects. Sometimes the effects come 3, 4, 10 years later. And this is why it is so important that, particularly when you're just starting your career right now, that you are the most knowledgeable on what is best for your body and what is actually hurting your body in a long term, despite the fact what teachers may say, or other people that have been through it and they have not yet either done the work or have seen the outcome on the other side. So when I stepped into entrepreneurship, and let me back up here, the hustle mentality is different for everybody. Okay, so for performing artists, for example, and particularly dancers, I believe that our hustle mentality is truly above at some points where most people's hustle is at. So, what do I mean by that? Meaning that most people couldn't be physically active like we are, sweating, giving, over and over trying, bleeding toes, hurting body. They could not do that. So, it is already quite above, I would say, maybe the norm hustle, what we go through. So, with that said, when I stepped into entrepreneurship or even my corporate career, for me, it was so normal to work 12 hours, 14 hours a day. That wasn't even considered hassle for me, at least in the beginning, only until I learned what it actually did to me personally, my body, and who I became in that. And I didn't like that version of me at all. That version of me had nothing left to give. That version of me was always smiling when she worked with other people, and I was very grumpy with the ones that were the closest to me, which my kids and my husband. And I came to a point where that wasn't really something that I thought was right. So when I changed that, or when I changed my job, I yet took myself without any kind of healing with me, meaning that I didn't ask the question why I repeated this pattern. And I repeated it again. Only this time it was so much quicker that I realized, oh my goodness, I can hustle really great. I can make money through hustling and working physically 12, 14 hours a day. But where is my life at? Who am I as a person? And that for me did not align anymore. I understand that it takes a lot to whatever successful means in your definition. For me, successful means that I am completely free. So when we look at everybody's definition of success, I wasn't free. I wasn't, nothing about what I was doing was equaling any kind of freedom. Even though I had the money, um, I didn't even have time to spend it because I didn't have time for me. And my cup was so empty and I was always tired. And the business I built was exactly what I had lived for the past, I don't know, 3 decades perhaps. So when that came to a stop, I could actually look at what do I want now? Like how can I build my business without being always exhausted? That doesn't mean that I can't have days where I work 8 hours. It doesn't mean that I, don't have a week where my calendar is really full. And then I also am paying very close attention. How can I make more room the next week, because I know that when my cup is full, and when I say my cup is full, is when I have energy. When I have energy and when I am at my best, I can also give my best. So here's my I would say not advice, but maybe, just what I've learned through the years is find what hustling really means to you. Understand that the hustle does not need to last forever. You are the most precious being. And if you can't feel your best, you also cannot give your best. And when you're consistently giving, when you're consistently in the hustle, you will not be able to give your best all the time. So building in the time into your days, even with, let's say you're launching something or you're right before a performance, the higher the demand is on you physically and mentally, the higher needs to be your self-care, the attention that you're paying to how you're feeling and what you really need. That is not selfish. That is how you will show up as your very best, and this is how you will serve other people the very best. So, does it really take hustle to be successful? Well, you know what? I don't 1000% know the answer to that because hustle means something so different to everybody. Um, I don't think I'm hustling right now, but when I take a day off and I get back to it, I feel so much better. So I have learned that 3, 4 hours of really concentrate working is what I am capable of, where I show up the best, where I have the best results. If I push beyond that, um, I am not creative. I am not showing up as my best self, and really, that's really what I know of how I can hustle the best, the fastest, and get the fastest results. So I want you to also look backwards, right? Like we don't know really what we're doing until, let me rephrase this. Of course, you know what you're doing, but it is harder to see the results when you're right in it than when you're actually looking back from where you came from. So don't forget to, kiss that shoulder and tell yourself that you done a great job. All right, my loves, I am now getting ready to leave. When this podcast airs, I am already on the East Coast, getting ready for our meetup in New York. And if I haven't, no, I haven't talked about that because we just decided yesterday. So, dun dun dun, big announcement. Rachel and myself, we are organizing a meetup for performing artists in New York on June 26th. I'd love it if you could come. If you're in town, it is a free event. It is meant to network, to build bridges, to um, connect other performing artists together. I would love to have this community expand beyond, our social media boundaries. And so, yeah, it's going to be 2, 3, 4 hours. We are going to bring in a guest speaker. And I'd love it if you could pass this message forward. If you have questions, DM me or Rachel. Her tag will be in the show notes. And yeah, share this. That would mean the world to me. All right, my loves. Thank you so much for listening. I'm sending you so much love. Until next time.
Thank you so much for listening. If this message resonates with you, please pass it on to someone who needs to hear this right now. And if you like what you've heard, your feedback will go a very long way. If you just take 30 seconds and leave me a 5-star review, that would mean the world to me. Till next time, point at yourself to rise to all that you are capable of.